Okay, I was muted. Let's try this again. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Perspective, episode number 28. We're still in season one, and it's good to see all of you on. And let me give a shout out to all of my ladies on as we are celebrating still Women's History Month. And today is actually Women's International Day. So kudos to all of the ladies. I see my mom on, I see my sister Monica, and I see my sisters from another mother on, Rashonda and Tanisha. Hello to all of you. And we are just excited and grateful for all of the sacrifices that all of you ladies you contributed to history because big or small, you all have done something to contribute to society. So we're excited about our show tonight, and we're going to bring our guest in a few moments tonight. Again, we're talking about the giving the gift of life. Talking about giving blood, a topic that we kind of shy away from, but it is an important topic, especially now that we're facing a pandemic. So our guest will be joining us shortly, and if you would like and share this video podcast, like and share this video podcast. And Facebook did return our feature of starting watch parties. So if you would also start watch parties, because we really want to get this information out to a lot of people. Again, glad to see everyone that's joining us, and we're in for a great show tonight. So, without any further ado, I'm going to bring my guest in. Hello, hello, hello.
Hey, how
Our
are you?
guest, good to see you. Our guest tonight is Jasmine Williams, and she is a donor recruiter with Life South Community Blood Banks. And um, so, we're going to get to our conversation in a moment. But we started on last week. We started a conversation. We did a little fun thing to kind of break the ice, and that's what we're gonna do tonight. And so, with the icebreaker, what we're going to do, we because I'm entertainment, I like to discuss icebreakers dealing with entertainment. And so, y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all, I was gonna go with a different topic, but this week I think this weekend, rather, Facebook has been taken over by Coming to America. So that's what we're going to talk about with our icebreaker. Notice I said the correct title, Coming to America. So for all of you who've been saying Coming to America too, you're incorrect. It is Coming to America. And if you have not seen the film, first of all, Jasmine, have you seen the movie yet?
Yes, I watched it yesterday.
Okay, good. Okay, so we promise we won't spoil too much of it. But part of the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because there's a buzz saying some people said they didn't like it, and you're entitled to your own opinion. And there are a lot of us who said they did like it. Me personally, and then I'll allow Jasmine to jump in. I love the movie for several different reasons. You have to think about when you see. I know they said it was a sequel, but it really didn't feel like it was a sequel. When you see movies of this magnitude, let's be honest, to see a cast where just about everybody in the movie they come back and they all look good. You don't see that too often. So let's go there. And it's Eddie Murphy in the City of Hall, y'all. So whether the jokes are funny or corny, we knew we were in for laughs. And then the biggest thing is it's for the culture. So when you saw the African wardrobes, it was funny. But my favorite scene still, like it was when the original air, the barbershop scene. Listen, they could do a spinoff with just the
That
barbershop scene by itself, and I would be thrilled. And then we can't forget about sexual chocolate. That was just, that was just hilarious within itself. So while we're discussing this, and like I said, this is just an icebreaker that we do to kind of break the ice when we deal with all conversations. So if you've seen the movie and you kind of want to give your um perspective on it, you can post your comments and we will put those up in the last 10 minutes of the show. We'll kind of discuss those. So, Jasmine, give me your take on the movie.
I like the movie, and today was my first time hearing one of my fellow coworkers. She was just like, "Did you like it?" And I was like, "Who didn't like it? Like
Mhm.
people that didn't like it." So I'm starting to hear now. People was like, "Oh, it was cheesy. It was this way. It was that way." But I mean, that movie's what 31, 30.
Right.
I'm
33 years.
30 some
Yeah.
years old.
Mhm.
So I'm I didn't realize it was that old because I probably was like 7 or 8 when I probably first watched it, but I'm 33 myself. So I was like, golly, that movie's that old. Like it was out when I was born. Like
Right.
so I didn't know it was that old of a movie, but I really enjoyed it.
Mhm.
Me and some of my friends watched it, and we really enjoyed it. We laughed and laughed for hour, like an hour
Right.
and a half.
Right.
Like it was that long, but it was really good. And to see so many African Americans in the movie, like from what's the Michael Blackston? I think that's
Right.
his last.
Absolutely. Mhm.
He was in it, and it wasn't your like. I mean, Eddie Murphy was in it and stuff, but it was a whole slew of people, like people you just didn't know. Like you was like, oh, that's so and so from this movie, or the comedian this, and the other. But it was really good to see so many people in it. So
Absolutely.
that was one of my biggest takeaways from it.
And I'm gonna put these facts out and then we'll move on. So for those who really don't follow the movie and you're not a researcher, because the first thing my eldest sister did when she watched it, she texted me, she was like, hey, which one of those is Eddie Murphy's daughter? Well, Eddie Murphy's daughter is actually, she played the middle daughter in the movie Princess Oma. That is
Hmm.
actually his biological daughter. And for everybody who was wondering who the little wizard witch character was, believe it or not, that was actually Arsenio Hall. So I know you couldn't tell with all the makeup on, but yes, that was actually Arsenio Hall. So I think that was good. It was an element of surprise to know that he and Eddie are still doing those different roles where you really can't tell it's them. So like I said, it was good. So for those who watched it, you can post your comments, what you liked about it, and your favorite scene, and we'll discuss those the last 10 minutes of the show. So now let's go ahead and get into our topic. And Jasmine, to get us started, first of all, tell us how long you've been with Life South in this particular role.
Oh, and oh, jeez, since November of 2012.
Okay.
I've been a donor recruiter with them, but overall, I've been with the company for roughly May 2nd will be 10 years.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. And so when we talk about giving blood, what kind of myths do you like to dispel? Because I know, I've had you at my church, New Hope, I think 3 or 4 times, and it may be more than that. But I know just when I've asked people, at the event, would you like to give blood? They say, so what kind of myths would you like to dispel about why giving blood is not really a bad thing?
A lot of people. Let's talk culturally, like,
Gotcha,
because
gotcha, gotcha, absolutely.
we always say, "Oh, my blood pressure is too high," or "I have diabetes, I can't give blood." All those are myths. Like,
Hmm.
or I eat a lot of ice, so my iron is low. I can't give blood. No, sweetheart. No, 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 no. Your iron is low not because you eat ice, but eating ice is a symptom of your iron being low. So
Hmm.
that is all different myths. People saying that they're diabetic. We just ask if you are diabetic that you eat something before, and that we're please eat what we have on the bus. We always have a slew of snacks and soda and juice and water, and then at some events we even serve pizza and hot dogs and etc. So we ask you that you eat prior to coming, and of course grab a snack to go.
And so you said something key about low iron, and we definitely want to spend some time on that. So we'll get back to that in a few moments. So let's talk about now the biggest difference between you all. And let me go back. I think I was introduced the first time to Life South. I believe it was my senior year, Huffman High School, and um, it was. I think a lot of the seniors jumped on this because our teacher at the time was my economics teacher. He said that for everybody who gives blood and you bring me a T-shirt where I can really prove that you gave blood, you'll get extra credit. So who wouldn't want extra credit, whether you need it or not? And then you all have always had the nicest, creative, coolest t-shirts. I mean, nobody can argue that. So let's talk about the biggest difference between the Red Cross and Life South.
Okay, well, Life South is only located in Alabama, Georgia, and Florida, and we're your community blood bank. So everything that we get is gonna stay here locally. Like accident today, we're transfusion in the next 2 days. So it's not being shipped to Wyoming or Michigan within the next hour or two. Everything here is for here. Everything here stays here. So we that's the biggest difference, and then also that we're only in those 3 states. So we put our forth our effort into our community, and it goes from there. We hire within our community and give within our community.
Okay, gotcha. And so getting back to the stereotypes of why we don't give blood, do you think fear could be another reason why we as blacks we don't give blood? Or
You see me smiling because we walk around with 15 tattoos
mm-hmm,
and you
mm-hmm,
get a little needle, but when
mm-hmm,
them and then it's mom and them, then you like, okay, like you like, yeah, let me sign the paperwork to give blood. I mean to let grandma receive some blood, but
mm-hmm.
you scared to stick your arm out there. We have a lot of people that first let's stroll back some to say giving blood is just not for trauma. Sometimes it's for surgery. Like I know people
Absolutely.
have gone in for the simple knee surgery and bled out too much on the surgery table, so they need a pint of blood. I have a cousin that her iron gets too low that she needs to receive blood. We have my sister-in-law, for a fact, she was in labor and needed 2 pints of blood after labor. So those things happen. It's not just because somebody's in a car wreck or open heart surgery. I think that's one of the surgeries that most people think, oh, they just need blood because of this. Or a lot of our cousins have sickle cell
Mm-hmm.
trait and sickle cell disease. Those people need blood monthly. I had a friend, her son has black diamond anemia, and he had to get blood every every month. Me and her have been friends since he was knee high to a grasshopper, but now they've actually been out in California at one of the children's hospital, and he had a bone marrow transplant and all of these things that they're working on with him now. And I think he's still over in California, but they're right here from Wylam, and they had to be shipped off to do those things. But we as a community failed to realize that we we get sick just like any other culture. Like, any other race, we get sick. We're born with certain things, and we need that help. And that's where we don't understand that we have special antigens in our body that can save one another. Like, we don't know, until you're checked, until you go and give blood, until you understand that you're a sickle cell hero. We have a program called Sickle Cell Heroes where they're matched with individuals at children's, and when that individual needs blood, they call that donor and say, hey, you know there's a recipient at the hospital that needs your blood, can you come in? And those donors are very adamant about coming in regularly, and or waiting on that phone call to because they're assigned to that one individual instead of opening up that recipient to 1,500 different blood bloods from different people. That's that one donor. Like, they go back and forth. Like me and you, we could just swap. Every time you
Yeah,
need a little blood, I just stick out my arm for you. But we can sometimes be selfish and don't want to give.
absolutely, absolutely. And so we do have a question. Anybody watching, if you have any questions at any time during the show, please post them and we will post them so Jasmine can answer them live. And the first question is from Leandria. How can you give blood if you take insulin?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We just ask you to check your levels before you come in and make sure you've eaten a bite and just come on in. Of
So the
course,
next,
when you're
okay,
giving, go through a interview and physical process anyway, and we don't check like your levels or anything um pertaining to your diabetes. We're just checking for hemoglobin levels and your blood pressure and things of that nature. But we still ask, and then like a lot of people think asthma. If you do have asthma, just bring your inhaler and we'll still be able to go forth with the donation.
okay, we have another question from Lisa Tony. Do you pay people to give blood?
No, we do not pay anybody. But this weekend, we just opened up a promotion for this weekend. We are having e-gift cards for all those that come out and give blood. So that's this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you can find a blood mobile via our website, which is lifesouth.org, and find a blood mobile. And it can be able to tell you wherever in your zip code.
And locally for everyone in Birmingham and surrounding cities, I will get those locations posted and they'll be on the business page. So if you check back tonight, we'll try to get those up tonight so everybody who wants to participate in that, you can know where the actual mobile blood drive will take place. And here's a question from my sister Monica. Can you talk about some of the health benefits of giving blood, especially for men?
Oh man, and those are, men are the the ones that are always the scaredest. Like I've seen little bitty girls like 115 pound come in and do it like a champ, but then you get a big burly man in that's 235 and he's just like, oh my god, but it has a whole sleeve done. Like he's like, but you let somebody draw on you. And tattoos, I have one tattoo that I made a mistake in college and got, and it's worse than giving blood. Of course, giving blood is like a little pinch, but men, I have a lot of guys that are um physically fit. They come in and they give blood regularly because they said it makes them feel better. We have men that need to, they have testosterone issues and they come in and they bleed regularly. And because men do not go through a cycle or anything like that, is getting to share their blood, because our body's gonna constantly make blood and pump blood throughout. So this is one way you can expel of the old blood. And then to your blood pressure is even lowered during the process.
Okay. And then I know a lot of people may be thinking this. How many times a year do you recommend that a person gives blood?
So you can give blood every 8 weeks. It's just depending. Now we have different ways that you can give. We can either give, you can give platelets, plasma, or just regular whole blood. So it's just depending on your body and what's healthy for you. Everybody's different. And then we, like, even with our girls, our younger girls that are 16 to 18, we roughly ask them to only do it about 4 times just because they're still going through a growth process. And then with older, I have some people that are 70, they come in every 2 weeks and give apheresis and they handle it like a champ. And then I have some people like myself, I can only give about 2 or 3 times a year. I just, my body just don't, I don't know if it's because I don't eat enough, or I still continue to think I could work after I give it, or I'm like always running, and then I decide I'm gonna give blood today, and then I'm still running, and then when I get home I'm pooped out. I'm like down for the count. It's the best 15 hours sleep of my life.
So now let's talk about the need for blood in the midst of a pandemic. I can only imagine what the need is now. It will be a year for Jefferson County on next Monday. Well, actually, on next Saturday, when everything was basically shut down, normal day to day routine of life as we know it, everything changed. So let's talk about how have you seen an increase in the need for blood donors?
I'm gonna take you all the way back from the beginning of COVID. In the beginning, we really like it was skyrocketed. It like plummeted. Like everybody was just like ready to go and give blood, and we just didn't know where it came from. So like we still just like kind of like, well, maybe everybody was just bored, and that was the only thing. You can either go to the grocery store or give blood. Like, so we was like, well, maybe that was what it was. And then after the first like 2 or 3 weeks of that, it just went like boom. It was like, where the people? Like, where are they gonna come? Like, what's going on? And then we had the cancellation. Everybody was like, well, the schools, all our schools by then, about the second week, I think they got out a week before spring break, and then went through spring break, and then they was like, oh, they're not going back to school. So I lost roughly, I think I had roughly 12 or 13 schools that
Wow.
ready to have their annual spring blood drive, which from March to May, we are like going hard at it. But I know just my team, and I cover everything west of 65. So like like those west side Birmingham City high schools, um Walker County, Fayette County. I'm all over this on this side, but I love like just, and I'm like, I looked at my calendar and I'm like, everything's red, you know. I'm like, what's going on? So, but we were able to host different blood drives with UAB, which really stepped in and really made a difference in the first maybe 2 or 3 months of the pandemic. And then the summer hit, and we had like places like Crazy Bills. They're really good with helping out and giving out free fireworks to people. Like we were just thinking outside of the box and
Okay.
trying to get people in, but we've had the hardest time um just keeping it afloat. Like we're still up and down, you know. Right now we're at a down point right now. Schools are still iffy if we should come.
Hmm.
Businesses are closing down left and right. Um, a lot of our office parks are like, hey, we're on a staggered schedule, and we only see only 10 people come in this day and 5 the next day. So we have a daily goal of 16, which with all of our teams combined, we're roughly supposed to bring in about 2,300 units of blood a month, and we're not making it right now. So,
Wow.
you know, it
What level? I'm sure I already know the answer, but I'm going to ask anyway. What blood type is there mostly a need for?
last week we were in an O negative, O positive, like
Okay.
need. Um, but I think we do have about 2 or 3 days on the shelf
Okay.
left right now. But everything is needed. Everything we're still in emergency need. So let's say, God forbid, a natural disaster happens, and a lot of people are going into the hospital and needing blood, then that's gonna wipe us out. We just, when it's that season, we always hunker down and we just start to praying like, hope don't get to the part where we need too much, you know.
Absolutely. And from a personal standpoint, to everyone watching, those who are very, very close to my family, you probably heard me share this at different events I've spearheaded at church in an attempt to get people. When I had my back surgery, I think I was about 9 or 10 years old. Um, all of my immediate family, my mom, my dad, and my sisters, we all found out that we were O positive, and the doctor wanted to make sure in the event that I needed a blood transfusion during surgery, that I would have matching blood, and I did. So when you think about that, it is also, and I'm sure you would agree, it's important to have those discussions with your family to see what blood types, your siblings have, your children have, because as we've been talking, anything could happen. We're in a pandemic now, but none of us but the Lord knows what tomorrow holds. And so, and one of the reasons why I did this show, because I'm sure she won't mind me saying this, how this show came about. She was actually calling me, and she said, "Well, hey, are y'all back here holding service at New Hope?" She said, "Because we love New Hope." I said, "No, you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer." I said, "We haven't started back having service." And that was when I offered Jasmine the platform to come on, because I do think we overlook the importance of giving blood. And that's why I wanted to title the show tonight, Giving the Gift of Life, because it is a gift. Just that 1 pint or 2 pints of blood that you give, that could save someone's life. And we really don't realize that. Now, let's go back to a question. Well, something earlier that you said. Let's talk about not being able to give blood because your iron is low. Is that something that you see on a regular basis, or it just depends on a person to person?
It is a person to person thing. A lot of females, because we're females, of course, and that that's an issue. And then our diets takes a lot of, like, we are more chicken. Red meat is not a thing, and people I guess like spinach and red meat and nuts and stuff like that. Anything that's higher in iron, we tend to stay away from it for some reason. But
And it's funny you mentioned that. I'm putting on the screen now just a few foods that you can eat to actually increase those iron levels. And if you Google the Mayo Clinic and type in foods for low iron, they will give you an entire list. And they also give you some tips that you could do. But I'm going to tell you the best tip, and I'm sure you would agree, making sure that you get rest. That really can increase iron levels. So I'll leave those up just for a few moments. If anybody, for my note takers, if you want to take that information down. And again, those are some foods that you can eat if your iron is low.
I know you see me looking all over the place. My dog is like roaming around. He's like, "What are you doing?"
Oh, let me tell you a story about dogs, and my audience is gonna laugh. We have one recurring guest. It's so funny. Her name is Jasmine as well, and I think Jasmine has done 5 episodes with me, and her dog is literally like she's a much as part of the show's family as her dog is. One show, her dog was snoring like a grown man, and if she had not told me that no one else was in her house, I would not have believed that that was her dog. So your dog is welcome. Like I said, we dogs are welcome on our show as well. But and then we have another question from Leandria. Can you give blood if you have had COVID-19?
Yes, that's a really great question. We ask that if you've had COVID-19 or if you have it, wait 2 weeks after your negative test, then come in, because now you've been exposed and now you have the antibodies, and the antibodies are helping those that are in the hospital with COVID-19. So, yes, please come. And we are like, I think there might be a treat in it too, like a $20 gift card. So, but please, if you've had COVID-19 in the past month or so, please come out and give blood. And then if you don't know if you've had it, we are still testing those everybody. Actually, we're testing everybody for the antibodies. So
Okay.
a lot of people don't know that they had it, and then they test positive for the antibodies, and they're like, I didn't have COVID, but you're asymptomatic. So, that's something to be thankful for.
Absolutely. And for those who are just watching, tuning in tonight, our topic is giving the gift of life. My guest is Jasmine Williams. She is a donor recruiter with Life South Community Blood Centers. And so, getting back to some more questions, what could we do as a Black community to educate ourselves on the importance of giving blood? Because I know, and how do I want to phrase this? When it's heard from certain people, and it's said, yeah, we got to stop this stigma where we don't really take action to giving blood until we're forced to. You shouldn't want to do that. It shouldn't take that loved one or that close friend to be in dire need before you jump on it. It just shouldn't. So let's talk about the education part and educating ourselves.
If you ever have any questions, I would love to personally come out and talk to everybody about it. If you just want to sit down and chat, we can sit down and chat. Then there's also, we Google everything else. Why not
Hmm.
Google this? You know,
Absolutely.
we Google our symptoms, and then we be in there scared because you think you got everything else, but you ain't Googling giving blood and why I should give blood. So I say Google, call if you even stop by. I will walk you around the center. Ask for me. I'm there every Monday through Friday. If I'm not, call ahead and make sure I'm gonna be there. So I'll walk you around. I don't mind showing you and educating you all about it. Um, I love my job and what I do, and it's my way of being a superhero behind the scenes. Like, you don't always have to be a nurse or a doctor, but there's other ways to help out. So
And Jasmine means what she says. There have been people, I think at our last event when we had you, which was so ironic, this was our last event right before COVID just shut everything down and no one knew what was going to happen. We had a goal, and I think the goal was like 12, I believe. And um, I went back to the mobile bus, and Jasmine said, "Well, I tell you what," she said, "if it's people that you really having a hard time," she said, bring them on this bus." And she said, "If we could get them to give blood, we're gonna get them to give blood," and that's what we did. And she talked them into it, walked them through the process, and we actually met our goal. So,
we had
yeah,
fun that day too.
we really did. We really did.
Somebody actually just sent me a video of us, whatever we was doing, some slide outside. I was like, oh, that's when the world was open.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But and so yeah, let's remove this stigma that, oh, I don't need to give blood because, and God forbid, you may not need it today, but like I said, you don't know what tomorrow holds. So
Mhm.
we all need to be proactive, and when you can and when you have that opportunity, let's take the time to give blood. And we have another question from Leandria. How soon should you wait after having a baby to give blood?
The FDA says 6 weeks, but if you're breastfeeding, I say much longer. So, it's just being being safe for you and your baby. Um, just wait if you're breastfeeding, but after you've given birth and you're not breastfeeding, then 6 weeks.
And then for children who want to give blood, um, what is the oldest that a child can give blood?
You have to be 16 years old with a
Oh,
parent's permission form, and then 17-year-olds and up can give without one.
okay, that's good to know. And then, like I said, any other questions or concerns that you have, um, feel free to post them. And let's talk about people that are anemic, because I think sometimes, and I'm not saying this to be funny, I think sometimes out of fear, some people diagnose themselves as being anemic when they don't have a clear understanding of what being anemic really is. So, medically, kind of give us, what it means to be anemic and why that person sometimes may or may not be the best candidate to give blood.
It can be harmful to yourself more so than beneficial for us, you know. So um giving blood, if you, are you saying giving blood when you're anemic? Is that what the
Yeah,
question was?
yeah.
Yeah.
And you kind of describe what it means to be anemic, because like I said, I think some people just as a fear, they will say, "Well, I'm anemic, I can't give blood," and
Yeah,
they
at
really don't have a
certain
clear
level.
understanding of what it means to be anemic.
Yeah, and so you being anemic, your hemoglobin is way lower than, like, it's low, like you are like in pain. You're like, you you'll know if you're
Hmm.
anemic. Like I was saying, I have a cousin who, when hers come about, it's her chest pains and hard to breathe, and all this is going on, so she's always rushed to the hospital. So, and I've known it to happen maybe 3 times to her, where she had to go and have a blood transfusion just because her anemia was so bad. But just because you eat ice, just because you look old, doesn't mean that you are. Maybe you just like ice. Like, I don't know. Like, some people, some people really use that as the big thing. Like, I just hate to even hear it. Like, oh, I eat
Hmm.
too much ice. My aloe, my because I eat all this ice. No, I eat ice too. I'm a Milo's and Sonics ice eating girl. Like, I just I go for a cup of water just so I can get the ice off of it. But the Chick-fil-A on Lakeshore, their ice is even better. But my iron is perfectly fine. I have a small window though of when my iron is. That's one great thing. I know my window when it's best for me to give blood and things of that nature. So, but that's because I've been working with blood for so long.
So all of my people who are watching now, who will watch the replay, all of my ice lovers, and you know who you are. So if you've been using that as an excuse, no more excuses. You could give blood. You've heard it from Jasmine, who is a donor herself. So get rid of those excuses. You can give blood. It doesn't matter about you eating that ice. So what I want to do, I want to take the last few moments of the show. As we stated, you all are still oh
Look, it's just resting. Come on, you don't want to. Okay.
Rusty said he ain't got time to be bothered.
He's I don't do people. That's what he say. I don't do
So I want to take the last few moments and let's talk about that people can still book you all to come out for events. I know recently you all did an event at my credit union of Adian. And so what I'm gonna do, and I'll put the information up again towards the end. I'm gonna go ahead and put your email address up if you all are interested in people an event for the mobile um, blood bank to come out. And let's talk about some of the type of events that you all are at. You all are present at.
health fairs. We right now, the really cool thing that we're doing right now, are elementary schools, middle schools. Even though those kids are way younger, we've opened up our high school grant program that we're talking about getting the school some money. So we are opening up that grant program for middle schools and elementary schools to be eligible for the grant. But of course, we send out letters to the parents and the family members, and it's a tiered program where, like, I think 20 units is where it starts. You get 20, you get so much money, and it goes up, and it's just a way to raise money for the school that's not like selling candy. You're doing
Mhm.
two things, you're raising money for the school, and then you're saving somebody else's life. So I think the most you can get on the grant program is like $600. So, you know it's not taken away from, especially with the elementary and middle schools, it's not taken away from school learning time. It's, just sitting out a bus outside, and the parents and the family, the community, the teachers, anybody can come, that's 16 years or older, they can come out and give blood, and that just goes with the program to help them be able to get that grant for their school. Then we do just Sunday services, coming out to the church, yard sales. We've even did family events where um somebody that had cancer, leukemia, we do a lot of those different drives. We do platelet drives for those people, in honor of blood drives. So whatever you think about, if you could gather up a couple of people that are willing to give blood, I'll park a blood mobile on your block. And we'll be ready. I even fry up a hot dog or something. Right about now, we're just trying to get it in the door. So we're thinking outside of the box. That's why I was so glad that my corporate office allowed us to open up that grant program to our elementary schools and middle schools. And I think it's a really great idea,
Absolutely.
because kids are not able to sell that little dollar candy they normally
Mhm.
going, person to person. But with this way, you can raise a little bit money.
And so, kind of talk about um doing blood drives for people that battle with cancer and leukemia. Let's talk about that for a moment.
We have those. Let's see. We did an in honor of drive a couple of weeks ago for a guy that was actually passed away, and um, we just find a mutual location. We get out posters. We can do custom T-shirts even, but it's just like hosting a blood drive at a Walmart or something. But we can customize it, and we can make it an annual thing. We can make it a quarterly thing. But we can sit down and go from there. But we do. I really like our custom um posters for those, where we include their picture and maybe like a little bio about them. And then sometimes I know I have one cancer patient that's out in Walker County. The little girl, I think she's 13 or 14 now, but she comes out at the blood drive and help, like, pass
Wow.
t-shirts or water, and she just thanking the people as they come, because she's used so much blood in the
Mhm.
past year or so, and that's just her way of giving back.
Does the goal that you have for each blood drive, does it depend on the amount of attendees that will be at the event, or how does that work?
We said it's all done. Our first when you having a first time, we just do a guesstimate about how many people, a percentage of people and stuff like that. And then, like with your church, we know, okay, we're guaranteed to get anywhere from 10 to 12 people at your church. So we go from there with that. But then, to depending on the size of the event or in students. So we go just a number figuring out. It's crazy how we just figure out what. But we do have a daily goal of 16 every day.
Okay.
But some days I might get 25, and then some days I might only get 3. So it's just making sure I go. And then I have other teams that are out, and they also help. We all help. We have our center goal is 2,300, so we try to work whatever we can get to that 2,300.
And I want to share this bit of information. This is actually, it is sort of funny, but it is sad at the same time. This was from a conversation we had a while back, and this was something you definitely have to share. You told me about an event. It was at a local church. We won't say the name of the church, but you actually told me that they raffled off a TV to get people to give blood. Let's talk a little bit about that event.
I think the church bought the TV,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken. I just did one this Sunday, and they do a $50 gift card.
Okay.
Everything has to be purchased from the other organizers. Like we don't personally do anything.
Okay.
Now we do what we used to in the past. We did like when the PS4s first came out, we were raffling off PS4s, and
Wow.
flat screens were a hot topic. We did those. Um we haven't done a big raffle of anything like that in a long time. So, but if, say, for instance, your organization wanted to do it, then fine, dandy and fine. Like we can include that on our posters and everything. We just ask that everybody that attempt to donate is enter into the raffle.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Gotcha. All right. So as we're nearing the end, I do see that some more people have come on, and I want to put the list that I put up earlier, foods that you could eat if your iron is low. And I want you to reiterate one more time because that is important to get out why people who do have low iron, why they aren't the best candidate to get blood.
It's just a precautionary thing. We're gonna take your hemoglobin on the blood mobile right along with your blood pressure. If your blood pressure is too high, we're gonna ask you not to give as well. Your pulse, your blood pressure, and your hemoglobin. So if those things are out of whack, we just want what's best for you. We're not gonna, be any harm to you trying to save somebody else's life. We want
Yes.
the best outcome for everybody in this situation. So, and there's one other thing I know that nobody said anything, but about Germany, like people that were born over in Europe during the 80s. A lot of my friends were born in Europe in the 80s, but they've lifted that ban from the FDA's finally lifted that, and that's huge because that knocked out like everybody that went to the war back then, that was, or not the war, that was just working overseas in Germany, or even that were born. Like I have a lot of friends. I'm an 80s baby, so a lot of my friends were military kids and they were born over in Germany. So that that had knocked them out because of that. But now they've lifted that ban.
Okay, great. So in the last 10 minutes of our show, any information that we did not share that you think is relevant to get out tonight, I want you to share that at this time.
We really, really need you guys' help. So if y'all could host a blood drive at your church, just a community blood drive, maybe at the neighborhood park. Um, I'll go into details of like hosting a blood drive with you personally on a one basis. Um, because we do ask, about our safety and our parking safety. Our bus is just as long as the school bus, so we have to get all that squared away as well. But we're always somewhere close by, and if not, we can make special arrangements and things of that nature. And we're also right off of West Oxmoor and Lakeshore, like going up to Tip Top, and at 396 West Oxmoor. And we'll gladly have you in there. Please wear your mask. We're taking tips at the door, so
Uh,
just knock on the glass a little bit.
and so before I go to our next question, I want to make sure that we reiterate that if people don't can't find a mobile blood bus in their area, they're welcome to come to you all on Oxmoor. I want you to reiterate that again.
Yes, we are open 7 days a week. I would just say call before, um, or just Google our hours. Um, we tomorrow is Tuesday, so we'll be open until 7, 9 until 7 tomorrow, and we are you're they're going to maximize your donation at the center. So they have the capability to do everything. And then on the blood mobiles, it's just varies the different buses and the different areas and different techs and stuff. So, but if you are I know a lot of people that are more comfortable doing it within our centers than on the blood mobile, because the blood mobiles is like kind of stuffy, like it's just a lot of people. Not a lot of people, it's just closed in. It's a bus. It's not like a big old open space and all these things. So it's just different preferences. So
And my mom had a great question. How long can blood be stored?
42 days for just red blood cells, and a year for plasma, and 5 days for platelets.
Okay. And I'm going to leave that information up for a few more moments just in case if anybody wanted to jot it down. And I've booked, like I said, I've lost count of how many um, blood bus events I booked with Jasmine. Very professional. Even if she has to leave an event, now Jasmine is a stickler. I'm gonna tell you, she makes sure because I know there have been a few times where she had to leave the event that following Monday or whatever that next business day was. Jasmine was gonna call me, hey, how did my team do? Did anything happen that I need to be aware of? No, you don't have to worry about that. They're always professional. They're always friendly. Walk you through the process, and the needle, it doesn't hurt. It's just a sting. So I would encourage you all, ma'ams and sirs, please let's do this as we all work together to give the gift of life to others. Because like I said, you may not be in need of blood today, but you don't know what tomorrow holds. So this is very, very, very important. Okay, and I'll leave that up again before we end. So in the last 7 minutes, as I told y'all, we were gonna go back to our topic of coming to America. So if you joined us later on in the show, that was how we opened up the show with our icebreaker. If you've seen the movie Coming to America, you can post your favorite scene and we'll get that on the screen. And while I'm also talking about that, I do want to give kudos to Andrea Day. If you have not seen Billie Holiday versus the United States, please, ma'ams, please, sirs, this is definitely a movie that I would recommend. It is currently only on Hulu, but this is a very must see movie. And she did win a Golden Globe Award for Best Actress. She won that, and then Chadwick, he actually won a Golden Globe Award too in his honor for his portrayal in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. So even in his passing, his legacy still lives on. So, and those are two great movies that I would encourage you to see. We all have more hand on our time on our hand as well. So, when you get tired of watching regular TV, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is on Netflix, and Billie Holiday versus the U.S. that's on Hulu. So those are great movies to check out. And my mom said that you all have great snacks as well, and they do. They really do. They really do. So I want to thank you again for coming, and I'm going to put that information up one more time, and we'll leave it up until the conclusion of the show. And as I tell all of my guests, you are now part of the Perspective family. So we do look forward to having you on in the future very soon. And more than that, I will be glad when I can book an event with you all. So we can definitely get one of those mobile buses back out.
I
So
know
it
you
is
do a really great job, and I don't know if anybody pat you on your back, but you always have it on. Everybody,
thank
every
you. Thank
anything
you
you
so
think
much.
about, be there.
That means a lot. It really does. Thank you.
Have me
It was
spend
so
a whole little check. I be then I'm off on Sundays, but I make sure I work your Sunday.
yeah, you
I
yeah, you told me that right.
Sundays are that's my day, so I can go to my worship house. But I always be like, oh, I'm going to church.
And I'm gonna let this cat out the bag too. Jasmine ain't fooling nobody. Her team, they come to see what food trucks we have. That's an insider joke.
They my girls they like to eat. I do too.
Mhm.
My girls be like, "Is he gonna have this food truck?" I was like, "If y'all want his number, y'all can text it." I'm not gonna be asking this man about no food truck. I said, "Y'all can go to do some work."
So again, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show, and As always, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Everything is under Divine Vision Entertainment. And you can also check out our website at divinevisionent.com. Next Monday, we are continuing our celebration of Women's History Month. Our guest will be Charmel Taylor. A lot of y'all have been asking me when we're going to have her back. Well, Charmel with Charmels will be on next week, and she has an awesome story. And really, the remainder of the month, we have awesome guests as we continue our celebration of Women's History Month. So just stay tuned. So to conclude the show tonight,
Extra meal meals be on point. Oof. Look, Charmel's actually one of my chair people from a while ago, from when I
okay,
the other side of 65, and
okay,
one of my chair people at VA. So she
okay.
really sweet lady. I love her
She
to death.
is.
Like a big sister now.
I'll be sure and telling you on the show.
Yes.
And so to end the show tonight, and I'm sure Jasmine would agree, being the profession that she works in. So I know a lot of us are hearing things. Kudos to Governor Kay Ivey. She did not have to extend the mask ordinance until April the 9th. She could have ended it on Friday when it was set to expire. So, like I've said on so many shows in the past, ma'am, sirs, please, ma'am, sirs, this virus is still alive. We cannot take for granted that we're seeing numbers decrease. We've seen numbers decrease before and they've rose back up. If you have the opportunity to get the vaccine, please take it. But even after you've gotten that vaccine, if you get both, please continue to wear your mask. Please continue to wear your mask and use common sense. Please use common sense. All of us, we want to get back to the days where we were able to have events such as the events we were talking about. But the only way that that's going to happen is we all play our part. So please continue to wear your mask, social distance, wash your hands, and be cautious of the people that you're around. Like I said, I know we all want to get back to the fish fries, the card playing games, all of those events that we love, mall shopping, so many other events that I can name. But
And
this is
the weather getting pretty. Everybody want to go
right,
home.
absolutely, absolutely.
They
But
should
this is
went
just
up
the
the
way.
All Star this weekend. They should have just stayed at home.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to seeing what those numbers are gonna be. Not at all.
not
Like
not
this
at all.
is just the way things are. So if we can all do this together, I guarantee you all we will not be in this same space together. So Jasmine, again, thank you for joining us tonight for perspective. And as always, as I tell you all, keep the faith, love you all, and I will see you all next Monday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a great evening.